Good afternoon, class. In today's video, what I'd like to do is to go over hydrocarbons. This will be a two-part series where this one I'm going to teach you how to name the hydrocarbons, and in the next video I'm going to teach you how to identify and how to basically draw the hydrocarbons. So let us begin. What are hydrocarbons to start with? They are when carbon and hydrogen atoms bond together and form compounds. How they are named, however, is quite a complicated set of rules that need to be followed. And so they are broken down into three different types. There are the alkanes, the alkenes, and the alkynes, as you see over here. Okay. And what I did was I wrote it in blue. I wrote down how do you know it's an alkane? If there are single bonds, if they're an alkene, there's a double bond, and if they're an alkyne, there is a triple bond. So that's how you know what type of hydrocarbon you're dealing with. Now, how do you actually write out the name of that hydrocarbon, for example? You would start with the prefix. And so we start over here, kind of like what we did earlier in the year with how to name different types of compounds and molecules. These prefixes are a little bit different in terms of how they are, or how they view things like 1, 2, and 3 and all of that. So please bear with me, but hopefully it'll sound somewhat familiar, especially when we have actual hydrocarbons we actually use in our everyday lives, or at least we've heard of in our everyday lives using these prefixes. So for 1, it starts as meth, and number 2 is eth, number 3 is prop, number 4 is bute, number 5, this one should sound familiar, is pent, number 6 is hex, number 7 is hept, number 8 is oct, number 9 is non, and number 10, as far as we're going to go, is dec. So you may have heard of some of these before. For example, methane is one that you might have heard of due to it's what cows burp a lot. Ethane, possibly, but you've probably definitely heard of propane as one of those fuels that you use for heating up food and cooking. Butane could be in the stoves that you use that are gas-powered stoves. You usually have a butane source. The last one you probably have heard of is octane, which is a hydrocarbon that is found in gasoline. So those are the prefixes. Now, how do we get to the suffixes? Or how do we find out which one is an alkane, alkene, alkyne? Let's find out. What we do is there are 3 rules for suffixes. So any alkane ends in ane. So methane is an alkane. Methene would be an alkene, and methine would be an alkyne. And you can tell this because especially when we'll see these rules play out a little bit more in the next video when I actually draw them out. But if you see in the hydrocarbon there's only single bonds, then it's an alkane. If you see that there is even a single double bond, it's an alkene, and if there's a single triple bond, it's an alkyne. And now, how do you know what the chemical formula is? If we were to write, because this is all well and good, we can name them, but it's also imperative that we know how to write out their chemical formula. So what you do is you take the ratio. In order to write out the chemical formula, you need to know the ratio of hydrogen atoms to carbon atoms. And so to do that, for an alkane, the formula is it will have 2x plus 2 hydrogens to carbon atoms. Alkenes will have 2 times the number of hydrogen atoms to carbon atoms. And alkynes will have 2x minus 2 hydrogens to carbon atoms. Some examples of this. If I were to have octane, that would be, there would be 8 carbon atoms. So therefore you would have 8 times 2 is 16 plus 2 is 18. So your formula would be C8H18. If it was octene, it would just be C8H16. And then if it was octine, it would be C8, and then it would be 8 times 2 is 16, minus 2 is 14, so it would be C8 H14. And we'll have some of these examples listed in the next video when we go over how to draw them. For this video, I wanted to do it just with here are the rules and a video where you can see clearly here are all the rules. We'll go over examples next time. So good luck in your studies. May the force be with you.